This is my first YouTube video and I'm absolutely pooping my pants. I'm Lewis and I've recently started a few social media accounts called Lewis Dean Riffs. I've played guitar for over 20 years and I've produced for a number of years too. And I thought I'd start uploading some reels, shorts and YouTube videos. I'm going to recreate a classic Metallica tone and I'm going to do it with a vintage style single coil Telecaster to show you that it can be done on pretty much any guitar. Here's the tone. A couple of my Instagram reels did really well. I had a few people comment on them saying that I was faking the tone and just playing the actual Metallica guitar track. So I'm making this video to show you from scratch how you can have that tone yourself. I use a Quad Cortex pedal to get the tone to this point, but you can do it with most other amp modelers. Anyone that allows you to use impulse responses, and you can also do this with amp simulations too. You also need your guitar and a DAW like FL Studio, Logic, Pro Tools, Ableton. I use FL Studio because that's what I've used for years, and we're also going to use a plugin called Spectrum Thief. This plugin is basically what allows you to get the tone, and also Spectrum Thief is completely free. I start off by plugging my guitar into the Quad Cortex, and this software here is called Cortex Control, and that allows me to control the Quad Cortex with my laptop rather than fiddling about with the physical pedal on the floor. So I make sure the guitar is set to input 1, and I also have a noise gate on as well. Input 1 so it's receiving the raw guitar tone, and then I make sure that it's outputting to USB 3 and 4 so that FL Studio can recognise it. So I know that USB 3 and 4 is stereo and we're recording a mono source, but it allows you to put stereo effects on the track and hear them as they're meant to be. Then within FL Studio I select a track, and you select wet signal left, wet signal right, and you should hear your raw guitar DI coming through. So the raw guitar tone sounds like that. And then because I'm using a Quad Cortex, I'm going to go into Cortex Control, and then the first thing we need to do is choose an amp. So the amp that I'm currently using is a capture of the Mesa Boogie Neuro DSP plugin. I captured this years ago and I dialed in all the tones there, so I can't quite remember the settings, but if you want it, please just follow me and drop me a DM and I'll happily share it with you on the Cortex Cloud. My recommendation would be to go with a Mesa Boogie style amp though. Here's the amp here, so it's literally just all 12 o'clock except for the volume because it was a bit loud, but this is what the amp sounds like on its own. Pretty crap, quite fizzy sounding. I also use the Quad Cortex EQ just to remove some harsh top end. So the Telecaster brightness, it gives us plenty of attack, but it's not what this sound needed before it hits the amp. So I've just literally cut off from about 1K, kind of rolled that off there. Then I add the green 808 overdrive after that. The drive is completely down, tones in the middle, but the levels just raised slightly. It's not adding obvious distortion, but having it in the chain still affects the tone because it kind of tightens up the signal before it reaches the amp. So turn this on. This is what this sounds like. It still sounds fizzy, it still doesn't sound how we want it, but we're going to get there in a sec. So that fizzy tone is what we want just now. We don't want a cab on it, we don't want an IR on, we just want that raw fizzy amp tone because Spectrum Thief will help us get the finished tone. So what we need to do is download the Metallica isolated guitar tracks so we can analyse them within Spectrum Thief. I just went on YouTube and downloaded the blackened isolating guitar tracks for there. That seemed to do the job fine. So I've loaded up Spectrum Thief on the track that we were putting the Telecaster through. I've also loaded up the Metallica isolated tracks, and I'll just put that to number 1 because that's the same track that our guitar's coming through. Because blackened is the isolated track that we want that tone, that's going to be our target. So we click target and then we just record. So I'll only show a little bit of that because I don't want to get a copyright strike, but I've recorded the spectrum of the actual tone. Now what we need to do is record our Telecaster. So we're going to click source and record our own Telecaster tone. It's important to play the same riff though, because the notes you'll be playing will be falling within the same frequency spectrum as the original riffs. It's important to try and play it the same way they played it as well to get the best result. To stop recording, you just click record again. So you can see the orange one here is our Telecaster tone. Blue one here is the actual Metallica tone. And then what we want to do, so right now we're hearing this orange one that sounds crap and all fizzy. And to get rid of that and to get it sounding like the Metallica tone, we click Addition IR. Now it should sound pretty much like the Metallica tone. I think that sounds pretty close. So now we've got this here. How do we get it saved so we can put it into our Quad Cortex, into that chain that we've got? So what I normally do is go to Spectrum, so we can see this here, and then it says Output Level Unity. I normally click it here, which normalizes it, and what that does is when you put the IR into the Quad Cortex or your amp sim, it keeps the volume normalized and keeps it loud enough. Because if I had it on Unity Gain, it looks pretty quiet, and as soon as I click normalize, it's up loud. I forgot to mention what Spectrum Thief lets you do as well. If you go back to this other one, you can smooth it. I don't know if you can see me kind of smoothing this here. I don't really use that, I keep that smooth to 0. And you've also got a low cut, I believe, and a high cut. I just normally keep this so it gives you the most accurate tone. So what we do is just export, just save that as Telejustice IR YouTube, save that to the desktop. And the next thing to do is actually turn it off so we know that that's no longer working when we play our guitar through this track. And then we open up Cortex Control again, and what we need to do is add that impulse response that we've just exported into our chain. So we do that after the amp. And this here is an IR loader within the Quad Cortex. I have to go back to the directory and add it in here. These are all other random ones that I've collected or made. So you can click, add them in. So save it on my desktop, Telejustice IR, I'll add that in, that's added. So that's now within my Quad Cortex. So I can go back to the patch on the grid, back to the IR loader and load in the new one that we've just done. So let's hear how it sounds. And if we turn the IR off, back on, definitely sounding like the Metallica tone now. And that's pretty much how you get the tone. I could take that away live and play that anywhere if I wanted. So yeah, thanks for watching, and generally if you've made it this far, I really appreciate it. If you want my amp capture, subscribe here, follow Louisteen Riffs on Instagram and TikTok. All the links are in the description. And yeah, let me know in the comments which impossible guitar tone combination I should do next. Thanks again, and I'll see you in the next one.